How you gonna start it over?
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and start. Are we live? Okay. Let's hold on for a second. We're just gonna go live on this one. What? Somebody help me.
Exit out of that. Oh, exit out the file.
Ain't nobody in there yet. Exit out of here.
Mm-hmm. No, the little bar is covering the go live part.
All right. Sorry about that, y'all. It's kind of a little different going live on both YouTube and Facebook. We're gonna try to get as much of an audience as we can. And we're back.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the second part of Issues. I'm your host, or one of your hosts, Tommy Green.
I'm Jessica Green.
And I'm William Elmore.
And we're back like the news again. Haha, same joke, but I'm going to try to tell it again. Anyways, welcome everyone. We're going to try to give you a few minutes to see if anybody pops in. And also to check to see if anybody watched the video. Of course, it's all about the video. Oh, we got one person that's popping in. Oh, good. So we can see. Yeah, we got the comments. We got the comment problem fixed, y'all. So we can see your comments live. I see people coming in. That's great. 3 viewers. Who we got in the building? Oh, Aunt Queen and my in-law, of course. 2 of my favorite ladies. Hey, y'all. Glad y'all showed up. Did anybody watch the video that's joining? Anybody watch the video? Hey, Aunt Queen. See, we getting the comments live now, y'all. So we in the game. That's the whole format. That's what we're trying to do. I always say customer. Audience participation is a must. We love it. Hey, Michelle. I see Michelle join. Anybody watch the video that's in right now? Nothing so far. Well, anyways, we're gonna get into it. This week's video: slavery to mass incarceration. It's a very powerful term. It's a lot in that title that we really don't even have to explain too much. You know,
it's kind of self-explanatory.
Self-explanatory. But of course, again, before we get into the subject tonight, let's get a few disclaimers from my man Will. Pass the mic to Will.
And first and foremost, the most important disclaimer is everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
Right.
The views and opinions of others do not have to be synonymous. They don't have to coincide. They can be as far left or to the right as they want to be. We're going to be respectful. We're going to be cordial. And we're going to keep in mind that everybody has their own perspective. We're not here to find people that totally agree with anything we say, but we had the courage to throw our thoughts out there on the table so we can dissect them and put them under the light and examine them. So please keep that in mind each and every time we do this.
Very good. Excuse me. So far, Linda, welcome, Linda. Hey, Linda. Just want to make sure we give a shout out to all our audience. Did anybody watch the video before we get into it? Give you one more chance to say if you watched the video.
I watched it.
Okay, good.
I watched it.
Right. Okay, good. So the format we're gonna follow is gonna be kind of similar to the last time, only in the part of how the structured discussion is gonna go. Our first question for tonight is gonna be the same as the one last week, but we're gonna get a little bit more. We're gonna get deep into this one, hopefully. Now, the first question is, I'm sorry, gotta give you a few facts from the video. Okay, slavery to mass incarceration. The whole premise of the video was the prison system is a system of racial bias. Can you agree? That was the premise of it. A couple of facts, and sadly, it's bad that again we are always at the top of these statistics. As far at least on the negative side. Let's not confuse me saying top with that's something good, but on the negative side. So it's hard to kind of deviate from the meaning of these issues and what we're trying to bring to light without bringing to light the actual facts, which are Black people are the ones most penalized by these issues. And, so keep that in mind, even though we are trying to go in a different direction tonight. So again, first question, keeping it in mind that Black people have they're 6 times likely to be sent to prison than white people accused and convicted of the same crime.
Why is that? You don't have to answer now.
Right. And the question is, how do you feel about that? First of all, we're gonna roll it to my man Will. How do you feel about that?
Well, before you answer that, can you explain what mass incarceration is?
I mean, in layman's terms, mass incarceration is the reality that there's a massive amount of particular people filling up prisons on a regular basis. That's what mass incarceration is in the simplest terms. Those people happen to be Black people. That's not coincidental. That's not accidental. It's not this media-driven belief that most Black people commit all of the crimes. This thing is by design. It's intentional, and it has always been intentional. And that's why slavery is the great segue to kind of maneuver it up to modern day times to call it mass incarceration. And like the video said, the dependence on forced labor by default gave birth to slavery. The so-called ending of slavery with the dependent on forced labor while you were a slave gave birth to mass incarceration, which once again puts you back in a system that is dependent on your forced labor by being incarcerated as an inmate.
Definitely. So keep in mind another thing too, I forgot to mention in the beginning. Me and Will kind of have a leg up on Jessica tonight. We're actually like
So it's good too.
Right. Yeah. But again, we've actually had life experience with being part of this statistic. You know, it's hard for me not. Well, it's hard for me not to say that I'm mad about it or I feel a certain type of way about it because I actually lived it. I was one of those statistics that guy mentioned in that video. I was one of the 1 in 6 that was convicted for crimes that I really was in prison with guys that did the same crime that had less time,
if not worse,
and worse. To be honest with you, so again, that's kind of where I stand on that. You know, it's a real touchy subject, and again, I can see where the design for prison is the same way the slavery was designed. They want to mass incarcerate the colored community, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a blueprint. It's a blueprint that they still use. It's like a playbook for all these sportsmen addicts. If this play is going to get us a touchdown, then we're going to keep running it. And that's what has happened, man. The same playbook that they were using during slavery, they still use now. Right. They just use modern tactics. And right now, the prison, incarceration. Look, you got all these private prisons, right? Which that's a business. And then it's not about correction or minimizing crime. If you're going to spend $100 million buying a prison and having a prison built, guess what? You want to guarantee that somebody's going to fill those beds up. And if that means manipulating laws and legislation and all of that stuff to make sure that you can target a group of people that's going to be low-hanging fruit, easily to put them in that prison, that's what they're going to do. Because the ideal is to make money. Man, we spent all this money on this prison. Now we got to run this prison. We got to get people to work while we're in this prison. Because when you bought the prison, somebody else who has a factory that makes license plates or soap or clothes bought a space. They rented a space in this building and said, hey, man, I got equipment there. If you got enough inmates to hire to run this plant, and you say, yeah, we're going to set up some laws in prison that's going to make the people in prison have to go. X amount of people got to go into this plant to work because the guy who owns the plant has paid you X amount of dollars to rent that space out. And for him to make money, he needs people to get in there and do the work. So how you going to manipulate them to have to go in there and do the work? You do that by telling them, look, if you go in this plant, I'm going to cut your sentence down by X amount of months. You'll be working your way out of prison.
The same way we were supposedly working our way out of slavery.
Exactly. The same exact way.
Exactly. It's no coincidence that the first prison they say was built in 1790. Okay, if you think back, 1790, Emancipation Proclamation was 1865. So around 1790, that's when we really started rebelling slavery as a whole. That's when things really came to a boil. So they had to figure out a way to say, okay, well, we're going to free them, but we still need to make this money off of them. We still need that labor out of them.
Gotta have it.
So here comes the penitentiary. Here goes the penal
Prison
system.
industrial complex.
Oh, that's
what it's called. So we build these prisons, we lock them up for being free, essentially, and then we could get the slave labor from them again. We can get it even cheaper this way, because morally, when you were a slave owner, you had a certain moral obligation to take care of me. I'm your property, just like a cow or a horse or a pig, right? You want to keep me healthy, you call the vet in, shoot the shots up, make sure I'm strong enough to go plow your fields and give you milk and all of that stuff. You're supposed to take care of me also in that same way as a slave. But when I went to prison and you bailed me out of prison and you forced me to work off this bail money that you paid, you didn't have to take care of me, because you could literally work me to death, because you know why? Mass incarceration, the prison is full of guys like me. So you didn't have to worry about taking care of me. You could really work me to death, throw me off in the ditch and go to the prison and get one more of me or 100 more of me. That's how frequently they was arresting us. Same thing today.
Yeah. So to bring back the parallel to slavery to mass incarceration, because we don't want to dwell too much on slavery, because it's not just a slavery issue, it's a mass incarceration issue. And the point is, that mass incarceration is a product of slavery. So with that being said, keep that in your mind. Keep that in your mind right now, and I'm gonna give you a couple more statistics. Now, 1984. The prison population was around. Sorry, I'm looking off y'all too. I had some issues with my notes last time, so I'm using my phone. But again, so 1984, the prison population was around 200,000. Well, right before 1984. So from 1984 to 2013, it went from 200,000 to 1.5 million.
Doing the crack epidemic.
Exactly. And what demographic deals with crack the most, or gets caught with crack the most, or sells crack the most?
Blacks. They say blacks.
Right. So now my question: how do you feel about that? Just hearing that statistic, that we're trying to develop a parallel from slavery to mass incarceration, and then you realize that during the crack epidemic is when prison went up more than 5 times what it was already.
Yeah. Wow.
So how does that happen?
Somebody introduced that crack to the black community on purpose. Sounds like.
Wow. I mean, that's a theory. That's a theory.
It's
a lot of people say that.
For me personally, it's overwhelming to think that these evils, is what I call them, were done on purpose. It's kind of a lot to imagine there's a group of people that sit in a position and make these type of decisions to take advantage of some people. But then again, at the same time, when I go all the way back to slavery, it's not unimaginable that there were a group of people who would do anything and everything to keep another group of people oppressed so they could take full advantage of them. It's hard to get that power up when you got it.
Right.
And you feel like, look, I'm not myself without it. And I think that the people who possess that power, who are racist and prejudiced, and that hold the keys to mass incarceration and the crack epidemic and all these other machinations and things that they've done, I seem like, to me, they took an oath for generations to come. Like, we're gonna keep this ball rolling, because without this, there is no us.
Right.
And
right.
Whatever happens, happens.
Right. By any means necessary.
You got that right.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm just gonna do a quick check-in with the audience. Anybody have anything to say, or how you feel about what we've discussed so far, or the video? Feed breaking up. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I'm gonna refresh the page. I hope that doesn't boot everybody. No, I'm kind of scared to do that. Is it still breaking up, Aunt Pat? Welcome to. I didn't shout you out. Breaking up. Okay, God. Say so, brother.
Modern day slavery breakdown of black man.
A money machine. Wow, that's powerful. Aunt Pat says modern day slavery breakdown of the black man, a money machine. That's deep. That's deep. That goes exactly what's the industry again? What do they call it?
Prison industrial complex.
Prison industrial complex. Okay, appreciate everyone for participating and joining in. So the next part of this, you know what? I was thinking a little bit about a conversation me and Will had earlier. You know, again, like I said, we actually have been incarcerated for some significant amounts of time. You know, I was incarcerated for 11 years, 8 months. Will, you was...
Man, I was 25. You seen 12 years a slave?
Right.
I was 20. Take that times 2. I was 25 years a slave.
Wow. Okay. Right. You were 25 years a slave.
Yeah.
I was 11. Well, you might as well say 12.
Yeah, you 12.
12 years.
25 years a slave.
12 years a slave. Exactly. So, with that being said, you know, my question again is, what do we do about that? What can we do about that? I mean, how do we stop from being the top of all these statistics?
It's hard. It's hard to say because it seems like as soon as you focus your attention on one thing, mass incarceration, and you see like the byproduct of that in police shootings. And then as soon as you look over there and start paying attention to that, then you see something else going on. It's this thing is such a big infrastructure of bias and prejudice and racism, which I'm gonna keep saying is evil, that it's like saturated. This whole country is saturated, man. I'm talking about from SAT tests to get in schools to how they deal with school, in school and out of school suspension. It's so saturated with race, man. Wow. And sometimes I think you're never going to get it out. But to answer that, I think that the more aware we become of this reality, we keep on pushing this information out to people so they can protect and take care of their own, man.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean that's where it starts at, really. And I don't understand. I'm not a parent, but I don't understand how so many parents have these reservations about having these kind of conversations with their kids. But from what they tell me, remember, I've been gone 25 years. And I was told before I got out, like, look, you can find anything in the world on this little thing right here, right? And kids are masters of these little things, aren't they? So why would you have any reservations of having a conversation about real issues with your kids when they could go on this phone and find out anything they want to find out? Anyway. We in denial too much about stuff, man. We want to act like, man, this stuff not really happening until it happened to us.
Right. Exactly. Unfortunately, and it did. And that was one of my eye openers, to be honest with you. That's one of the reasons that, you know, we do this. We trying to push this information out. We're trying to raise awareness to the issues that are going on out here because, you know, we've lived it. And you know what? We know it's real. For the ones that don't realize or that try to be naive to it or try to be blind to it, you know, or try to just brush it off as just everyday life. No, it shouldn't be everyday life to have to worry about these
got
things.
A new comment.
Oh, okay. Who we got here?
I think.
Right? Yeah, you're right. So while I check the comments, just to give you know, a little bit more of our backgrounds, I know you was saying, you was telling me your perspective of the parallel again from slavery to mass incarceration. And
yeah,
give us that story.
I read this book, by a white guy named Douglas Blackman. It's called Slavery by Another Name, and this guy did an excellent job of drawing a timeline from Reconstruction after the Civil War until modern day times, and how slavery was so profitable. It was like free labor.
Right.
So a lot of people got super rich off of slavery, and then when after the Civil War, when the law was passed that slavery was illegal, people said, how can we figure out another way within the law to make them slaves again?
Right.
So once again, when the slaves were set free and you were told to get off your slave master property and you went across the street or down the road and developed another way of life for yourself on some land that didn't belong to anybody, in layman's terms, people in power passed laws that say, hey, whatever you're doing across the street is illegal. Come on with me, you're going to jail. Right. So when you did go to jail, that same slave master would get a phone call from the guy who owned the jail, right? And said, look, I got 45 freed slaves down here charged with loitering or trespassing.
Right.
And If you come bail them out, then guess what? They have to work for you
Right.
to pay back the money you spent getting them out of jail.
Right.
So once again, slavery was up and running that way.
Right. They just circumvented it.
So it went from arresting black people and putting them in these little small jails, waiting for a slave master to bail them out, to say, hey, why not build some prisons, right?
We hold them too long.
And fill them up.
Right.
So if nobody don't bail them out, right,
Right.
guess what they got to do?
Right.
They still got to work for the slave master while they're in prison.
Right.
We're in a win-win situation.
Right. Right.
So stop building plantations and fields to grow cotton and start building prisons. Prison industrial complex.
Right. And they also, when they actually did go through with freeing slaves or whatever, they had that slave labor where they had incentive wages. If you think about it, we had incentive wages when we was on the yard. It's the same thing. We working, we building all these corporations for them. And why? Only because we were convicted of a crime and have to be housed here.
Yeah.
So you're gonna make us work for this little chump change here and there.
You slave to the state.
Slave to the state. Exactly.
Once again, you're a slave to the state.
Right.
And then, so supposedly when you finish your sentence, right, supposedly your rights get restored and you're a free man, right? Supposedly, right. But we all know that's not true.
Right. Yeah, because you have, after that, you own papers.
You own papers.
Right.
And you got to pay to be on that.
Still got to pay. Still got to pay.
Man,
the slave trade doesn't work if you don't get money out.
Yeah, it's a moot point if you're not profiting off of it. Yeah.
And again, it's not even a only black thing. Prisons is filled with all nationalities. We might be the most in there right now, at least in America, but still, it's filled up and it's free slave. It's slave
free
labor.
Yes, you got that right. Yeah.
Exactly. Anyways, y'all. Again, we want to be mindful of time. Anybody wanted to say anything? Any comments on the discussion, the video, if you watched it? Let me go ahead and start giving note that appreciate the love. Remember, appreciate the love. Said Heart, appreciate the love. Aunt Queen, appreciate the love. Aunt Pat, appreciate the love. Quincy, Cuzzo, appreciate the love. Lex, my niece, appreciate the love. Tracy, appreciate the love. Michelle, appreciate the love. Linda, appreciate the love. I think I caught everybody that was in here tonight. We appreciate y'all participating. Again, we look forward to the next show. Next time around, I'm not going to give it away, but we're going to try to stray from the path that we've been kind of on right now, because we don't want to discourage nobody, and we don't want nobody to think that it's all about race, and we are trying to raise awareness in our community. That's going to be hands down. We're just that type of people, but again, everyone appreciates you showing up.
Listen, we have a president that's always raising awareness, right? About a lot of things. So how dare anybody look at our show and catch an attitude, right? About the awareness that we trying to raise.
Right.
Every day you turn the TV on,
Great point.
This joker raising awareness about everybody else but himself.
Right.
Mexicans, black, Koreans, you name it, Republicans, Democrats. He raising awareness about everybody else. Let's raise our own awareness too, man.
Exactly. I agree completely. That's a good way to put that. Miss Green, anything? Just raise awareness. We're going to keep raising awareness. Well, y'all have a good night. Again, appreciate the love. We appreciate y'all coming in. Oh, it's more?
Up in the top. Go up.
Okay.
Right. I don't understand. No, I've been going 25 years, so I'm confused all the time.
We're going to check the comments one more time just to make sure we ain't miss nobody saying anything about the video. Sorry, I can't see this side. Let's go up. Well, anyway, we'll respond on Facebook. Please like, share, all that good stuff. Subscribe to the channel. That would be cool. But we definitely going to keep it going on this page. Y'all have a good night. Mine's not ending. You should. I think we're still live. Why is it not letting me end it?
Still live?
Yeah. It won't say it. It won't end.
Said keep
I'm
ready.
sorry, y'all. We holding y'all hostage.
What about
This the
that?
blooper mode from Handcuffs to Cufflinks, uncut. I hit this one and bring up that.
I'm talking about that one. Are you sure you want to English?
Yes, finally. Jesus Christ.
That one's still.
Oh, we can edit this one, too. Good night, y'all.